Tim Batchelor, who just said that home plate umpire was horrendous, I agree with you. Let's get this bad boy started. Hello and welcome aboard the Gallant Says podcast, live at youtube.com/Paul Gallant, or on X at Gallant Says, or on twitch.tv/Gallant Says, or on facebook.com/Paul Gallant Sports, or on Instagram at Sports Gallant at 12:05 a.m. on the first day of May 2024. Sorry it took me so long to get this thing started. I spent most of tonight cleaning my kitchen because I didn't want to fully watch the Houston Astros. If you've been listening to my radio show, I've said a couple of times that until they win 3 games in a row with this very disappointing start, 10-19 to open the year, I don't feel like I should give them my full attention. So my kitchen, absolute sty, needed some cleaning. Laundry needed folding. So I was never 100% as dialed in on tonight's Astros game as I'd have liked to be. But guess what? We finally have something to celebrate. Hit the music.
Why did they argue the umpire call?
Astros.
Why did the fielders crash into walls?
Astros.
Why do you think the pitch was so slow? Why do you think they go for broke? Who says it's only a game? Why did the catchers wear iron masks?
Astros.
Why did they die for the dive on the grass?
Astros.
Why did they go head first into home? Why do the losers feel all alone? Who says it's only a game?
Who says it?
When you wanted to give it all you got.
The war's not over till the final shot.
It's pride and glory and fame.
That's true.
Who says it's only a game? Why do you think they call them spies?
I don't know.
Why do you think they call them spies?
Also don't know.
Why do they give it more than they've got? Why do they always reach for the top? Who says it's only a game?
With me now, Astros baseball. Who says it's only a game? So they won 10-9 over the Cleveland Guardians, who had the most wins in the American League. That game would have been a lot more fun, the back and forth nature of it, if the Astros hadn't been playing like shit for the majority of April. But if you were listening to what they had to say, leaving Mexico City, they've pressed the reset button. Now, 2 weeks ago on a Friday, Joe George and we basically pressed the reset button for the Astros. They played all those above 500 teams. They were about to play the Nationals, and we assumed they were going to sweep the Nationals and go on a little bit of a winning streak. And then they lost 2 or 3 to the Nationals and got swept by the Cubs. But hey, after that happened, they go to Mexico City. They reset. They've won 2 in a row. They go play the Guardians tonight. They win their 3rd in a row. They've scored 30 runs over those last 3 games. So hell yeah, guys. Celebrate this. Let's celebrate any victory as long as we can. It's still looking at the standings and thinking, okay, there's a chance that they can compete. How many games out are they in the American League West? They could make up some ground against the Mariners. Okay, 6.5 games back on the first day of May. Not great, but tonight's win was great. Did not seem like it was going to go the way that it did. Did it? Another shitty first inning for Hunter Brown, whose ERA went up only 0.10 from 9.68 to 9.78 when all was said and done. Because he allowed those 3 in the first, and then he allowed another 3 runs in the 6th inning. He's allowed 15 runs in the first inning this year. 15 runs. Oh. And I feel for him because he actually seemed to get it together in the middle innings. And I think, honestly, Joe Espada should have pulled him from the game before he went through the lineup a third time so that he would leave from tonight's game with a little bit of confidence, you know? And then he has that inning as the aftertaste on the way out. Ugh. Rafael Montero didn't help out, did he? They left him in too long. But hey, I don't want to focus on too much of the negative. The Astros offense got going. Alex Bregman's bat seems to be waking up. He had the 2 hits on Sunday in Mexico City. He nearly went yard in the first inning off of Carrasco. Went just foul down the left field line. He hit his first home run of the season. His second at bat, it's a 3-run homer and avoids him from, I think setting a record for his second longest home run drought, which we haven't seen since 2017 in his rookie year, 2016 when he first came up, and he really struggled. So hopefully Alex Bregman's contract year starts officially now. You saw Joey Loperfido go up to the plate. If you were at the ballpark, you probably didn't get to hear Joey Loperfido's family hanging around him as he was at bat with the bases loaded. I think if I were Loperfido's family, I'd want Julia Morales to fuck off. No offense to Julia. We all love her. But Julia, I think, did a very good job of going back and forth, trying not to be too intrusive, because Loperfido gets the 2-run single. She resumes talking to them. John Singleton hits a 3-run homer. Nice day for potential first baseman for the Astros after Jose Abreu has gone off to Florida. Those were your first 8 runs. They're up 8-3. You're feeling great. You're feeling great. You're probably not feeling great about the bullpen. You're probably wondering if Hunter Brown's going to be able to keep this going. And he comes back out for the 6th inning, and that's where things started to hit the fan. I hate how hard this bullpen makes things. This bullpen is very, very well paid and very, very talented. Rafael Montero, one of the well-paid guys, a vintage Montero 3-run homer after relieving Brown. It's a tie game, and you're like, Jesus. I mean, they got 8 runs. It felt like everything that had happened in the first inning where it looked like this game might get way out of hand was in the rearview mirror. And it didn't really get much easier, did it? Brian Abreu did get a pair of strikeouts in the 7th, but he walked out 2, and he threw 12 balls against 9 strikes. Ryan Presley was relatively clean. Josh Hader was awesome. He actually went 2 innings. I feel like that should happen more often. It's kind of crazy that it took till the end of the month for that to happen, but I think the Astros knew they had to win this game. And he was great. I really thought he was electric with the 4 strikeouts he had, but then he allowed that double in the 10th inning where the Astros, until tonight, have had absolutely no fucking luck. And Hader had to deal with some shitty umpires as brought up earlier. I will admit, as someone who finds regular season baseball to be a tad boring at times, I do like the occasional shitty umpire. It kind of livens things up, it gets you angry, it gets your emotions out there, and I'm sure we're going to get some shitty calls tomorrow since this is an Angel Hernandez umpiring crew, and I think he's behind home plate tomorrow. Let's see how that goes. But Hader had some bad luck in that inning. I thought he looked great, and I feel like the idea of using him 2 innings, especially in a tie game, should not be something you don't do, which when Joe Espada was asked about it not too long ago, he said, no, he's only in here for 1 inning. Come on, guys. Come on. He's getting paid $95 million. What is he saving himself for? It's another thing where he talked about this too, where you don't have a long-term contract or something like that, but come on. So then Victor Caratini comes up to the plate with 2 outs and Mauricio Dubon on third base in the 10th inning, and he lasers a Yankee Stadium-esque home run to right field, and the Astros win. And I did fist pump. I did say, how about that? But at the same time, I more so breathed a sigh of relief. And I think most of us did too. Let's read some comments here. YouTube.com/Paul Gallant, or on Twitter @GallantSays, or on Facebook.com/Paul Gallant Sports, or on Twitch @GallantSays. DeRhino says, beautiful night. Was waiting for what usually happens, but we pulled it out. Hell yeah. Half Nielsen wants me to go out to the bar at Poison Girl. I'll be back there at some point. Samson comments, please enjoy West Palm Beach, Abreu. We are fine. Baron Schultz says, you seem a lot more like Seattle than Houston. What does that mean? Just leaving a couple of ellipses there. Speak with your fucking chest. OU Picks on Twitch says, words can't describe how much I hate the Astros right now. 3-game winning streak, guys. They're 3-0 since they reset the season. And I guess technically since I co-signed the resetting of the season for the second time. So this year, in 1 month, I reset the season for the Astros before they played the Nationals. Then I killed them along with Joe George. It was his idea, not mine. The next Friday. And now, after 3 wins in a row, the season has been reset again, officially. JB comments, Caratini. Hey, here's the thing. Caratini, Puerto Rican. But Mario Joseph Loperfido, he is Italian. I guess when his parents found out that he had got promoted to the major leagues, they were at dinner, but I think that they were on the Jersey Turnpike or something like that in the interview with Julia Morales, and I was thinking to myself, hell yeah. But they were listening to that song by, was it Alabama 3 in The Sopranos? Woke up this morning. Because that's what everybody that's Italian in New Jersey does. I'm not being racist. Come on. Brandon Halam comments, I guess the Mexican beef worked. That's true. I don't know how many people remember this, but Dwayne Brown, Houston Texans left tackle, randomly got flagged for violating the NFL's performance-enhancing drug policy after allegedly having some sort of beef in Mexico. And the funny thing is, the NFL actually okayed the overturn of that suspension. So that's an excuse that works. So maybe the Astros have a little extra testosterone still in the blood over the last couple of days. More comments. NJ Fuentes, Respecter, says, the tag team of Mo and Shemp. Like, you're doing a Three Stooges reference? Brown and Montero is infuriating. Hey, Brown was good in the middle. The bread was just shitty on the outside of that sandwich. What else do we have? Wallace says Breggy was 1 for 5. Yeah, but he almost was 2 for 5. You know? Sean Wally. Oh, what's up, dog? Greetings from your pseudo home of Seattle. Go M's. They are in first place. This is true. The pitching looks very, very good. Going to be interesting to see that series. I'm hoping that the Astros can pull a Twins. I just looked at the standings. I guess not that long ago, the Minnesota Twins were 7-13. They've won 9 in a row, so shouldn't be out of the realm of possibility for the Astros to do the same thing. I know that Dana Brown's kind of been annoying with the amount of times that he said, well, yeah, we'll rip off 8 to 10 in a row, but I mean, they kind of need to rip off 8 to 10 in a row at some point. Samson said, need JV to carry tomorrow. Bullpen's definitely going to be tired after tonight. I agree with you there. Finally scored a run in extra innings. Nice contribution from the rookie. Agree with you on that front. What else do we have? Not a fan of paying that guy $14 million a year. Not a fan of losing Nearest. Not a fan of Abreu. Thank God for Caratini. Need Singleton to go nuclear on a regular basis, please. That would be nice. I don't think that's going to happen, though. But hey, good for John Singleton. You know, off to a nice start. As did Joey Loperfido, who was playing in the outfield for some reason in the first game with Jose Abreu in Florida. For those who don't know, Jose Abreu, the very expensive 37-year-old Astros first baseman, in the second year of a 3-year, $58.5 million contract, has not been DFA'd, but he has been optioned. It was a mutual agreement that the Astros and Abreu came to. Shout out to Abreu for not making this more difficult than it needed to be. The Astros gave him credit for that as well. This is what Dana Brown had to say about it. Jose Abreu is an outstanding human being. He's unselfish, and he's a teammate's guy. And he wants to get himself back to what he was doing last fall. In the midst of this conversation, you could see that this guy is passionate and determined to get back to helping this team. He unselfishly was on board and in agreement to go back to West Palm Beach. No timetable for Abreu's return to the majors, but it does sound like this is going to be a very long, long stay. Continued Brown, quote, He was frustrated. He was wearing it. If you've been around these athletes any number of years, you can tell when they're frustrated. You take it home with you. Sometimes you think they don't take it home with them, but they take it home with them. He got to the point where he was frustrated. It's rare to do it, but it tells us about his dedication and commitment. I don't think we see this as a long-term thing, or he sees this as a long-term thing. I think it's more, let's go back down. Let's make some adjustments. Let's get the rhythm and timing back. I do wonder just how realistic it is to get timing for major league pitching back when you're not facing major league pitching. There is a part of me that thinks, okay, the only way to fix Jose Abreu is to continue to give him reps, but clearly that is not changing anything. There was a story, I guess, on ESPN Tuesday morning. Abreu said in Spanish he felt embarrassed about his production since arriving here in Houston. It hasn't been good. He has slashed in 163 games, 221, 280, 352, and has been worth a negative 1.4 in terms of wins above replacement. So I want to talk about the way Jose Abreu is being discussed for just a moment. I know a lot of people are focusing all their anger, their rage towards Jose Abreu, and I do understand that because you look at the contract and you're like, what the fuck is he doing that I can't do? I could hit this shitty. You probably couldn't hit .069 in the majors. Maybe there's someone out there who could, but I'm very skeptical that any of you would hit over .000 at the major league level. But I do sound like I am caping for the guy right now. I just think that when a guy is signed to a big contract, we shouldn't blame the player. We should blame the team every single time. Because to all the people out there who have finessed their bosses into paying them way more than they're actually worth, I say hell yeah to you. I say congratulations to you. Shout out to your finessing. Seriously. If you found a way to get overpaid, you're a fucking legend. I have all the respect in the world for you. The more useless your job and the more money you make, seriously, congratulations. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how I can do it. I want to learn your ways. You might argue to yourself, you might argue to me right now, as you look at this screen, Paul, you're a fucking idiot who blabs about sports for a living. The fact that you get paid at all for this is ridiculous. And that is a great point. But I want to get paid more. I want more money to do less. I want a 1-hour show, you know? And I want to get more money to do that 1-hour show. It's the American dream. So shout out to Jose Abreu for showing us all that capitalism is better than communism. It is. Sure, we're all jealous of that contract, but hey, at least someone's getting that contract. At least someone's getting overpaid. Everyone in the world can get overpaid. Maybe it's all of us right now, right here today. Let's manifest that energy going forward, huh? We choose to get mad at the player rather than get mad at the team. And I think a lot of people are mad at Jeff Bagwell. I think a lot of people are annoyed that Jim Crane let Jeff Bagwell have as much control as he did during the offseason, where they signed Michael Brantley, disaster, barely played. Signed Rafael Montero, disaster. Why would they do that? Signed Jose Abreu, hasn't worked out so far. The team is where your annoyance should be directed. I went back this afternoon to look at some of the articles that talked about the signing of Abreu and some questions. You might remember that Keith Law shredded Abreu and that signing. And this was before we saw Abreu really struggle last season. This is the lead of his article, which was written November 28th, 2022. I'll show it to you so you can see it. So is this what happens when you get rid of your successful, respected GM and try to Jerry Jones your way through the offseason? signing a 35-year-old first baseman and DH to a 3-year deal, even off a year when some signs of age crept into his performance and his batted ball stats, is some 1980s George Steinbrenner malarkey. It's also rather contrary to the way that James Click and other execs from the Tampa Bay Rays front office tree try to build their rosters. First base and DH are spots you can easily fill in the lower end of the free agent market or use to accommodate players you already have who might be blocked elsewhere. If you're not signing an elite player, put a pin in that for a moment. You go for a less expensive one and spend that money elsewhere. All those points make sense right now. I know a lot of people don't like Keith Law, but just because you hate the messenger, does that make his message wrong? And this article talks about how, Abreu was coming off of a pretty good year in 2022. He hit 304. His strikeout rate was a career low. But Law continued saying, I'm not arguing that Abreu was less than elite last year because that's besides the point. They're not buying his 2022 performance. They're buying his 2023 to 2025 performances. And things are likely to be worse. He'll be 36. His production outside of 2022 hasn't been elite for some time. I'm talking from 2018 to 2021. In 2022, his production changed. It's something we've seen before. He lost some bat speed and started to struggle on four-seamers for the first time in his MLB career. His contact quality went down on four-seamers, blah, 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 blah. This was all before we saw Jose Abreu play at all for the Houston Astros. And it's not the only thing that we saw. We were all, I think, very excited that the World Series champs signed a guy who was an MVP not that long ago, and also thought that, they were upgrading at first base over Yuli Gurriel, upgrading at first base over Trey Mancini, the two guys that they had platooning for the 2022 World Series team. You thought that they finally had some real guys at that position in getting Jose Abreu. But I remember some people, not a lot, but some people asking questions. Specifically, and I could not find it, I looked for it for a while after the game was done tonight. There was specifically one tweet that was put out, I forget by who, and this tweet showed a bunch of, I guess, traits, average speed, exit speed, and other things that seem to be on the decline for Jose Abreu from year to year to year. The closest thing I could find was this thing on Fangraphs. After a rough season, Jose Abreu came up huge in the division series. This is talking about last year's playoffs, which we thought, okay, maybe Jose Abreu will be better next year. But it shows that his numbers, and you can see right here, I'm kind of highlighting them, from 2021 through 2023 in terms of exit velocity, barrel percentage, hard hit percentage, all of those things were going down. Abreu set a career low in average exit velocity in 2023, with his barrel and hard hit rates his lowest since 2017 and 16, respectively. By exit velocity, he plummeted from the 93rd percentile to the 42nd. By barrel rate, it was only from the 88th to the 67th, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So people knew that his play was diminishing and the Astros looked the other way. And it's easy to get mad at Jose Abreu. I don't feel bad for a player who gets paid and struggles in the slightest. If they're getting paid like that, you shouldn't feel too bad for them. You shouldn't be a cunt to them online, but you shouldn't feel too bad for them. You know, they're making a lot of money, no matter how embarrassed they might be. I get that money isn't the end all be all, but it is definitely nice to have in your back pocket. But I just want everyone to be on the same page here. Any ire directed towards Jose Abreu, I feel like it should be directed towards Jim Crane for allowing Jeff Bagwell to do all the things that he let him do. But you can look at the back of that baseball card. Let's read some more comments here. YouTube.com/Paul Gallant, Twitch.tv/Gallant says. Saul Morello says, I'm really happy Hader pitched 2 innings. Everyone else has to sacrifice more and set aside their pride for the team. Hopefully everyone continues to put more effort into these wins. I'm with you. I really want to know if it was a Josh Hader reservation pitching multiple innings. There was a clip, and we played this on our radio show on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5, Hader talking about his time with Milwaukee, where he said that he really only wanted to pitch one inning until he got paid, but he got paid. And you get that kind of money, you do have to, I think, be someone who's going to go above and beyond to help the team, especially if you're a new guy on this team that, yeah, Hader was a part of a long time ago, but if you're a part of this team that has been to all these ALCS in a row, what, all of a sudden, because you're a $95 million guy, you can't pitch 2 innings? Forget where you came from? Yeah, heavy workload, and obviously for Hader, it hasn't been the best situation for him this year. How many times has he even had a save situation? What are we at, like 2, 3 maybe? But he should be pitching multiple innings if the situation calls for it. And he looked good in those 2 innings. I know that the double happened. The extra inning rule is very frustrating and seems to have been a massive catastrophe for the Houston Astros since it was instituted. Shredder says, is this an Astros resurrection? Just had a funeral. Your eulogy was moving, by the way. Yeah, it might be. I don't know, man. I like to try to find ways to keep baseball entertaining and fun over the course of a long season. It's not that easy, though. It's not that easy, especially when the team sucks. Tim Batchelor comments, the Killer Bees were debating about if they think Abreu has to show major improvements in Florida or if he just needs to stay. Just needs to say he's ready before being called up. Thoughts? That is a great question. I mean, I'd imagine that somebody's going to be observing him, but how can you tell if he's going to be able to hit Major League pitching if he's not going up against Major League pitching in a Major League stadium, you know, in a Major League situation? I think that's a great question. I think they're gonna keep him down there for a very long time. I would imagine that some sort of injuries would be the only way that he comes back up. And they're like, well, shoot, we gotta break open this this glass case, you know. Dylan Wilshusen says we should start calling Joey Loperfido the Italian Stallion before they come up with something like J-Lo. I saw someone do the J-Lo tonight. No, I think it's Super Mario. His real name is Mario. Mario Joseph Loperfido. I think it should be Super Mario. It might be lame, whatever. How many people do you know with the first name Mario? Not many. Not many at all. One last thing I wanted to touch on, because there actually is just enough butthurt in the wake of Charles Barkley on TNT roasting Galveston Beach. Barkley was so disgusted with how the New Orleans Pelicans were playing Saturday that he said they didn't deserve to go to Cancun on 3, like everyone talks about during the NBA offseason. Instead, he said they should go to Galveston, Texas with the dirty-ass water. Everyone started laughing. And Charles is right. The water is dirty as fuck. Tina Knowles, Beyonce's mom, who is from Galveston, actually laughed at it. She had a comment, Chuck, we don't play, about Galveston, Texas. You better watch it, sucker. Laughing emoji, laughing emoji. Our water might not be blue, but it's still the beach and we love it. In fact, what you probably don't know is it's an island. Yes, me and Angie still rock our born on the island necklaces. We got a good laugh, Charles. Y'all don't start no shit. She's having fun with it. I think most people in Galveston would agree. Yeah, Charles is right. Like, it's not the best looking beach. The water's not the best looking. There's flesh-eating bacteria. There's poo occasionally. But there were some people that pushed back. And leave it to a politician to try and use someone talking shit about your backyard for clout. David Collins is a Galveston City Council member. Monday, he wrote an email to Houston Public Media. Quote, Mr. Barkley used the phrase dirty water washed up on the beach. If anyone understands being washed up, it would be Mr. Barkley. Oh, you know that meme or GIF where that one guy's like smirking as he's talking some shit, and then there's another guy who just goes through the front of the shot and he goes, just like that. I mean, damn, David Collins, you fucking got Charles. You nailed him. I gotta say, the clapback, it made me curious. So let's take a look. GalvestonTexas.gov/518/district-3-David-Collins. Okay. He's got Colonel Sanders if he worked out vibes. What else do we know? Been elected to the city council 2018, 2020, 2022. All right, let's take a look at his backstory. Oh, fuck. He's got one of these pictures. And he's not smiling. You know why? Because he's serious. He's serious about your voice at City Hall. I feel like they could have used a better font right there. But it's a nice background. There's like a map of Galveston. And then there's a random quote from a guy named Wayne Holt. Should I know who Wayne Holt is? I'm looking up Wayne Holt. Who's Wayne Holt? Okay. Well, let's just go back to David Collins. Let's keep Galveston moving forward. The last 10 years have been a period of tremendous rebirth and growth for Galveston. There's a typo there. The city looks better than ever. More streets are paved. The stormwater system is being completely revamped, and our critical infrastructure has been hardened against the next storm. But, I mean, it is fucked during a storm, right? It's Galveston. Like, isn't everywhere on the coast screwed if a hurricane hits? Now we're looking to the future, building pump stations and water management systems that will help reduce damage, not just from hurricanes, but from destructive rain events like Hurricane Harvey. Well, that is a hurricane. Potholes. They're working on those. I'm starting to get bored. Okay, here we go. About David. I'm a semi-retired publishing professional, living the dream on the beach. I first came to Galveston in 1970 and soon found myself on the air as a disc jockey at KILE Radio in the basement of the Hotel Galvez. Okay, so, I mean, this guy's like me. Honestly, probably made more money and had more fun than me. If he was doing radio in the 1970s, you could do some fun shit back then. Especially if it's in the basement of the Hotel Galvez. That'd be a good time. All right? Before I left almost 10 years later, I was the morning DJ on the air every weekday morning opposite Galveston legend Vandy Anderson on the KGBC. If you were under 30 in the 70s, you probably listened to me on the radio. Is this going to be me someday? Am I going to be a Galveston City Councilman? I don't know. Maybe I should work for that. Life led me to Austin and California, where I had a successful career as an IT consultant before starting a small publishing company in 2004. In 2018, I saw that the people were not being served by their city council representative. Charles Barkley was talking shit, and I felt the need to write an email to Houston Public Media to clap back and say that, hey, you know what's washing up on the beach? Like dirty water? Charles Barkley. Boom. Roasted. People chose me to be that voice in 2018, and I've worked hard every day to deserve that trust. I go to every community meeting I can find. I talk to HOAs and resident groups every week, determined to understand what Galvestonians want in their city. Okay, I'm bored of this now. Anyway, David Collins clapped back. He's not the only person that clapped back. The Galveston Park Board, which cleans and maintains 32 miles of beachfront, said in a statement that it creates a clean, safe, and fun environment for beachgoers. Does it do that? I don't know about that. Galveston is much more than a beach town. Well, it's not a very good beach town, continued the Galveston Park Board. There's a multitude of attractions and amenities to enjoy across the island. From theme parks to world-class museums to fine dining, there's no shortage of fun. Galveston is a family-friendly and cost-friendly destination, and we think the Pelicans would find well-deserved R&R here in the offseason. Well, definitely cheap R&R, that's for sure. Look, I'm not going to act like I'm too good for Galveston. I am a little bit of an elitist douche, right? All I'm going to say is I've been to other beaches, and I know that Galveston's beach is pretty lacking. I mean, I went to high school in St. Petersburg, Florida, in Pinellas County. Clearwater Beach is the best beach in the country. There's a bunch of other awesome beaches in St. Petersburg, St. Pete Beach. You go a little bit further south. There's Fort DeSoto. I have been very spoiled on that front. And something that you learn in life, if you have lived in multiple places, you learn that the place that you grew up isn't the center of the universe and that it doesn't have the best in everything. When I grew up in Massachusetts, I strongly believed that Boston was the center of the world. The world. Just think how crazy that is. It's this tiny northeastern town where half the year it's dark at like 3 p.m. But this is the best place in the world. A place where it's snowing and it's cold for about half the year. I mean, just think about that. And I think that's everybody's experience if you've grown up and lived in one place for the majority of your life. And there's nothing wrong with that. I would just encourage you to remember that some people are going to have different perspectives on things. And Charles Barkley, who is a millionaire basketball player, is going to look at a lot of beaches in the world and say, this beach sucks. Galveston Beach does suck. It does. More thoughts on the water from Galveston Bay Foundation President Bob Stokes, who felt the need to release a statement. Our local water may not be crystal clear, but it's not because it's dirty. Our water has a large amount of sediment in it. The currents push water from the Mississippi River to our upper Texas beaches, which is probably true, but there's other shit in it. Like, we see stories every year, flesh-eating bacteria and some other shit. Like, come on. It's okay to admit that it's not the best beach. Some commenter on a post from the Galveston Island, a Facebook page, was like, Charles, I thought we were friends. What's up with that? Someone commented, Galveston beaches are a lot like its people, a little rough around the edges. Trust me, Mr. Barkley, we prefer it that way. You could stay home. We are busy enough, said another commenter. Galveston beaches are a lot like its people, a little rough around the edges. That's not a brag. It's not a brag. It's not. We prefer to be a little rough around the edges. Like, okay, that's like people living in a trailer park logic. Again, nothing wrong with living in a trailer park. If that's where you want to be, that's where you want to be. But, like, we prefer it this way. I mean, you'd want to make the trailer park nicer, probably, I would assume, right? I don't know. Just a thought. A couple comments before I hit the road. Dylan Wilshusen says, Houston's better than Boston. Why do you think I'm living here? I have zero desire to go back to Boston. The only thing that sometimes makes me miss Massachusetts is the fact that my dad lives there half the year, and my sister and my godson, and right around the corner, niece, they all live all the way up there. Ill Astros fan asks on X, hi, Paul, I was at the game, and when it went to extras, I wanted to leave, but something told me to stay. Well, good job staying. I mean, they were bound to not fuck it up in extra innings at some point, right? Anyway, that's going to wrap up today's show. Appreciate you tuning in. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like this video. Or subscribe to my Twitch if you're a Twitcher. I don't really know what you do on Twitter or on Facebook. Like the video after the fact? I don't fucking know. And on Instagram, I don't even know if this goes to Instagram, to be perfectly honest. It says it's streaming in my little feed right here, but whatever. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Connor McCormick asks, what about those M's? First place. See you in a week. I will be back at it on the radio with Joe George tomorrow at noon. hopefully, if I do a live stream tomorrow night, I will actually get this thing started before midnight. Been at midnight the last 2 days. Not exactly helping the sleep schedule. Whatever. It's fine. So long, farewell. Have yourselves a wonderful Monday until 12 hours from now.